Now let's take a look at a demo of a simple data warehouse example that I wrote, which violates dry all over the place, and then we'll see how we can clean this up by applying this principle. In this sample application, we have a data warehouse loading program, which we're calling Extract Transform Load, or ETL. ETL is a common pattern in data warehousing. If you do a search for that pattern, you'll find a number of commercial products that focus on data warehousing solutions. In this case, the basic steps that we want to apply is to extract some data from our data source, perform some kind of aggregation or transformation on that data, and then load this into our summary tables or our data warehouse, and then finally finishing up the program. In this example, I'm going to be talking to the Northwind database. As you can see here in my hard-coded connection string, my extract method is going to open up a SQL connection, perform a query against invoices, and put that data into an invoice table. It's going to do some logging and output what it's doing as it goes. Then it's going to open up another connection, also to Northwind, and it's going to query the employees and store this information in an employee table. As it goes, it'll write out the results. In our transform step, we're going to first take that list of shippers that we loaded in the load section, or the extraction method, and we're going to go through each one of these shippers, get a count of them, and then basically take out the sum of the freight that that shipper received over the period of time that we loaded. When we're done, we'll also calculate the total freight from that period of time as well. Next, we'll go and analyze the employees. We'll pull out whether or not that employee is a manager based on how many employees report to that employee. And then we'll calculate the bonus for each employee based on that calculation of whether or not they're a manager. Finally, now that we have all of our data, we're prepared to load it back into our data warehouse. So we'll have to open up another connection. In this case, we're talking back to the same data source, but in a real system, it would likely be a different one. We'll clean up any data that was already there, and then we'll insert our records with our new summary data. We'll do the same thing for the employees, cleaning up what was there, and then inserting new records for their bonuses. You can see that this set of code is about 200 lines of code, and the only classes in it are our main program class here, as well as a class for freight by shipper, which simply shows the shipper name and the freight that they charged during that period. And then for employees, these employees simply have the name, whether or not they're a manager, and their bonus. If we run this code, we'll see that it all executes. It finishes up in not too much time, and you can see that it logged all of the things that we expected it to out to the console. Now let's see what we can find as violations of the don't repeat yourself principle in this code and what we can do to correct it. A very quick analysis of the code shows a number of problems with the don't repeat yourself principle. These can be broken out into the following bullet points. The first one is the use of many magic strings or values throughout the code, followed by duplicate logic showing up in many different locations. There's repeated if-then logic in some branches of the code, as well as the use of conditionals instead of polymorphism. There are some repeated execution patterns where the same couple of lines or several lines of code are executed with some slight variation over and over again. And there's a lot of duplicate, most likely copy-pasted code that we can probably find with an automated tool and clean up. We have only manual tests in the code at the moment, and there are a lot of static methods which we'll see can also prove to be problematic.